Hello and welcome to the video series of local file inclusion and remote file inclusion. In last three videos we have seen different forms of remote file inclusion wherein we were able to include the files remotely that could lead to remote command execution, and from there we were able to gain access to the system. In this video we will see how local file inclusion can be done, and then how local file inclusion can lead to remote command execution, and how from there we can get the system access. So let's say allow URL include option is disabled or set to off on the victim machine. So I'm on victim machine. Let me go to etc php directory and then php configuration file. Let me search for allow URL include and then set this to off. So which means we cannot include the files remotely. Let me save the file, restart Apache services. Perfect. Now if you go to Kali machine, go to rfi.php, and if I try to include file is equal to http://192.168.100.129 and then simple backdoor.php. So let me try to include that. Sure, I don't see that file has been included. So that means RFI in this case will now not work. Now we will see how the files locally can be included with the help of this code. Now go back to the root directory. Now this time go to LFI Basics and then lfi.php. So we have written a code to include the file remotely as well as locally. Now page is equal to http://192.168.100.129/simple-backdoor.php. So it is trying to include this file, but it is not being included because RFI is being disabled. But now let's try to include the files locally. So one classic example could be home.html. So I could see the file has been included as home.html and the content of that file is home.html. I'm home. Now for example contact.html, I can see the content in the file as I am contact. So I can include the files which are there in the HTML directory. Now let me try to include the other files. So etc passwd. So we should be able to see now the user information, what all users are being created. So I can include the files, but condition here is I can only see the content of the files which can be the files which are readable by www-data user, wherein we have permissions. So for example issue file, so we should see the operating system here, which is Ubuntu. If you want to include host name file, we should see the host name as Ubuntu. But if I try to execute the commands, for example fconfig, it doesn't work. So now I can only include the files, but I cannot execute commands. So my next task is how I can gain remote command execution. So we are basically able to see the files, we are able to see the content. Now with the help of that, we should be able to execute the commands. So let's see how we can do that. Var log then Apache to access.log. So we have this log file, and if because of misconfiguration and wrong file permission on this access.log file, we can write the content to this file. So this is a log file wherein we can see get request is there, then we have a user agent information, and then we have date information. So we have date, get request, and user agent. So if we replace this user agent information with our PHP code, then we might be able to include the PHP with the help of this lfi.php file. So first we need to see whether this file is writable or not. So let me see that. Now go back to the Kali machine. Now to modify this user agent information with our PHP code, we can have burp proxy. So we can intercept the request and then we can modify the user agent field. Now start the burp. We will intercept the request and we'll try to modify this user agent information. So click on next here, start burp. And then meanwhile we can change the browser to point to burp on port 8080. So go to advanced network settings, and use proxy on port 8080. So we have a burp setup now. Perfect. And go to proxy, interception is on, and try to access log file. It is being intercepted now with burp. That is the user agent field. And replace this user agent field with the PHP code echo, for example, shell underscore exec, and then so we can have for example uname -a command in single quote. Sorry, so here it should be. So close the bracket, terminate the command, and close the PHP code. So this will execute uname -a in the log file. So click on forward. So it is there. Now intercept should be off, and now again try to access the file access.log, and let's see if we are able to execute our content or not. Uname -a. Perfect. The moment I'm trying to access now access.log, I can see my commands are being executed. So uname -a gives me the information what exactly the operating system is and some stuff related to date and time. So similarly you can replace that with other commands. So let me do that again, and now this time we will have a different command. So interception is on. Again try to access the file. It is being intercepted. Remove this user agent information. PHP echo shell underscore exec, and then let's say config. Close this, close the command with semicolon, and then PHP tag should be closed. Forward it, interception should be off. Try to access that, and now we have IP address information here on the page. So that means we can execute the commands. Now if we replace the user agent field with the help of burp, and that can be replaced with the PHP code. Now this is a log file similar to a text file, but this text file is being treated as is being recalled, or it is being called as a parameter for lfi.php. So wherever this lfi.php sees a PHP tag, it try to execute that specific configuration as a PHP code, and that is the reason we are able to execute the commands within the log file. So that's all I have in my mind for this video. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you are enjoying this video series at Troika System.